Hey everybody, Playtendoguy here, and welcome to my review of Unravel 2 for the Nintendo Switch. Ever since the Switch released 2 years ago and proved to be a big success, many developers have been hard at work porting their best and most popular works to the hybrid console. Now after a couple of FIFA games on Switch, EA now brings the wonderful little indie platformer Unravel 2 to the Switch. Yes, it may be a little late as the original game came out last summer, but it's a very fun game that's worth getting. The original Unravel is a wonderful, whimsical and beautiful looking game that arrived on the PS4 and Xbox One all the way back in 2016. The game was a fantastic looking title that had a lot of heavy focus on puzzle platforming. It did remind me heavily of the Kirby Epic Yarn and Yoshi Woolly World games due to my main character being made out of yarn. But the game was pretty successful and was rather original title to be published by EA. Anyway, the sequel was launched at E3 last year with no word of a Switch release until a recent Direct. So now it's here, but strangely without the original in tow, which is disappointing as the PS4 and Xbox One versions recently received a cheap bundle with both titles in. But hey, at least Unravel 2 is on the Switch. As for the story, Unravel 2 takes storytelling a little bit differently. Instead of giving you a narrative to follow with a goal, the whole story here is instead played out through visual cues that are going on throughout the levels. It feels very similar to the Superb Journey in that respect, and I quite like it for that. The gameplay of Unraveled is a 2.5D platformer that does have a heavy reliance on puzzle solving. The game sees you controlling a lovely little woolen character called Yanni, but in this sequel you are joined by a second blue Yanni to make for the game's new co-op feature. The game's fully playable on your own, and unlike other co-op games that can be a bore on your own, which I'm looking at you, Zelda Triforce Heroes, Unravel 2 is actually really fun to play on your own. You can control both Yannis separately to solve certain environmental and platform-based puzzles, but when you're on the move, one Yanni can carry the other one, so you haven't got to keep switching between the two if there's no puzzles to solve, which is great. The game is fully playable from start to finish in two-player co-op, and it's a blast to play with a friend, and there's a great sense of teamwork throughout the whole game. For example, one Yanni has to hold the other Yanni's string to help it cross over a huge gap, then the Yanni that's crossed over can pull the other one over the gap. Everyone has something to do when playing in multiplayer, and it does work really well, and I'm very happy to report that the frame rate and performance doesn't suffer with two players on the screen. As for the game's length, you're talking a relatively decent length at around 5 to 7 hours depending on if you take your time. The game has 7 chapters and there's plenty of different secrets and unlockable to keep you coming back, as well as little mini achievements for each levels. So if you want 100% you're talking around the 8 to 10 hour mark, which isn't that bad at all. Presentation-wise, Unravel 2 is a rather interesting looking game, as it takes a cute character of Yanni with a rather realistic looking levels that actually work really quite well. The game does take a visual hit on the Switch in both docked and handheld mode, with some blurry visuals, muddy textures and rather long loading screens. But to be fair, the game does run at a rock solid 30 FPS in handheld mode, while stock mode has a performance and visual mode, one focusing on 60 FPS and the other has better visuals at a 30 FPS lock, which is a nice touch. Conclusion time now, and it's great to see the wonderful Unravel 2 finally make the jump to Switch, and whilst it's a shame the original isn't included, it's still not to be missed, with a lovely story, challenging and enjoyable puzzle platforming to make for a very memorable experience, and it's even more enjoyable in co-op. The visuals may take a hit compared to the other version, but it really does fit the Switch well, so that's why I'm giving Unravel 2 on the Nintendo Switch an 8.5 out of 10 with the title of great. Thank you for watching my review, like, rate and subscribe, and until next time, happy gaming, bye!